It's finally done. The draft is done. Broncos country, we're here to break it down. Woo. We'll tell you about the players who bring the power. This is horsepower.
Let's get it, baby. Man, I missed that intro. It's been a while. What's going on, guys? It is your weekly horsepower hour minus our original host, David, with David Talks Broncos. He's kind of busy doing his own thing, trying to, take care of some personal stuff. So wish him all the best there. But I am joined by my good friends, Jeremy and Kodiak. Fellas, how are you guys doing today? We'll start off with Kodiak.
I'm doing fantastic. And the reason I've been feeling fantastic is because I woke
up and put him on the chair.
I woke up at 7 a.m. to some amazing reporting from Seth Wickersham, which we never get in Broncos country. So the fact that we got this feels like we hit a gold mine, feels like we hit a jackpot. I was super excited to come out here and discuss it with Jeremy and Mark.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to talk about that in depth with you guys. Jeremy, did you get a chance to take a look at it?
I've read probably a quarter of it. Sorry, my mic.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah. No, there's a lot, man. There's a lot there. So much to unpack. So I'm happy we can kind of break it all down. So let's kind of get right into it. Kodiak, I'll have you start us off, man. Is there anything specific? Again, if we broke down this entire article, guys, you should definitely check it out if you haven't. It's like, what is it, 20,000 words? It was like 20 pages. It was really, really long. It took me like 3 hours, but I was like doing it in parts and then working and doing it in parts and working. But what was the thing that stood out to you the most, Kodiak, of all that you wanted to kind of kick us off with?
So one of the big takeaways, the article starts out talking about, how we got run over by Buffalo and how Sean Payton was pissed. So one of my biggest takeaways is we as fans can be mad about something. We as fans can be pissed about, a certain player or how things are going, a specific unit not pulling their weight or whatever. But I can guarantee you there is nobody more pissed off than Sean Payton whenever we have shortcomings, okay? Because even he said, unbelievable that Jordan Jackson was not on the field at all, which, first of all, I feel like as a head coach, I mean, part of that fault's on you for not being like, hey, get him in there. But also, after the AFC Championship, apparently he was slamming shit, being like, Drake May, 65 yards rushing, damn, or whatever he said. So, yeah. But, yeah, when stuff goes awry, as much as we want to get on here, talk about it, complain about it, man, I don't even want to know what's going on through the head of Sean Payton when things aren't going well.
No doubt about it. Jeremy, did you get to that point? Did you see that?
I did. That was probably the last player I would have expected him to be mad what didn't get on the field. No offense to him. I just didn't think that he was thinking about that. And then when you see that, you're like, he's thinking about everything.
Yeah.
The minute details. The thing that I thought about, because anybody who watched that like USA game yesterday, the soccer match, it's one of those things where it's like, if the players just aren't ready for the moment, the best coaches in the world can have all the greatest plans. But if they just don't rise to the occasion, or if they're not just, I guess meeting the moment, it doesn't really matter. And the thing that I love about what I've read so far about that is just like Sean Payton does dot every I and cross every T ahead of time. He's double checking with like Bill Parcells about stuff. He's going over it with like legends on like what the message needs to be this week, how to set the tone, how to do this, just to give his team a chance to be great. And that's what I really learned from that. I mean, and the other thing that was just like a small little note in there, but I was like, was how his hands shake when he's like calling the plays. I was like, oh, Sean's nervous. But apparently he's like hopped up on cokes and medication and
he's on all sorts of shit, dude.
So it's one of those reasons why it's just like, that's why you hire somebody like Sean Payton for like burning every little detail. And yeah, you're right. He probably should be overthinking who's on the field. Not, Jordan Jackson, that does fall on him, but it sounded like he probably he told people ahead of time, this is who I want in there for certain stuff. And when it's not done, he's mad, So it just made me more excited that he's our coach, honestly. And I like that old school mentality. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, that's not the way to handle everything, whatever. But to me, that I liked it, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, there's it's crazy. Like, 'cause you always know the kind of details that these coaches will pay attention to. But like when you start to read these tidbits, and I'm sure it's not just Sean Payton that's this detail. I mean, I'm sure probably 30 out of 32 head coaches at this level, but it's almost to a fault. And I came out of it like, can you, it's so easy for someone in his position, like seeing as much football as he has, going through what he's gone through, to just overthink everything, and it's like, how do you even find that, kind of like balance of, hey, we want to be as prepared as we can, but we don't want to be necessarily over prepared either, because it's like, it's so easy to overdo things. But like, and then all the lack of sleep that they get, all the medication and Coke and stuff, and like Coca-Cola that he's all hopped up on, right? Talk about like he probably pours 10, but he drinks about 3 a day, which is honestly, just as a human being, very concerning for him. But dude, like to the point where one thing that stood out to me that blew my mind more than anything is the fake punt called in the 2024 game, right? So we'll get to the other fake punt, but in the 2024 playoff game against the Bills, and it was a successful one, this dude calls a play because he notices on film that the person that's responsible for like covering this particular fake punt missed that week of practice because he had a kid that was born, and he called the fake punt baby shower. Like, just those levels of details is crazy, and it actually worked, and it's exactly who they ended up going after, and the coverage wasn't there and whatever. But it's like, even to that idea where you're like willing things into existence and it comes to life, like that kind of back end access is absurd. Absolutely absurd. I'm glad Andy put this in the chat. Andy, what's up, my guy, man? Thanks for tuning in. He said the Bill Belichick piece of it was a mind-blowing hypothetical. Honestly, do you guys know about this?
Yeah.
To fill in the viewers of it? Yeah. So go ahead, Jeremy. I'll have you take it away with this.
Yeah. So supposedly he was going to have the Penners hire Bill Belichick to be the head coach. He was going to step down or just go down in his title as the assistant head coach, just so Bill could get 15 more wins, break the all-time record, and then they would go back to what it was, which is like, okay, I have a lot of questions. How that's, I mean, you're going to have to tell the whole team, okay, we're going to have a new coach, but he's not really the coach. He's kind of the coach. But I guess it's just, I mean, from Sean's point of view, the thing that tells me right there, for the most part, is how much he respects Bill Belichick and like would give up 15 wins for himself to give them to Bill Belichick, which tells me he's not in it for ego. I know a lot of people like to run with the whole thing of he's the smartest man in the room, just ask him, all that bull crap narrative. Well, he's willing to put his own record aside to win and to push somebody who he really, really respects, elevate them as the best ever. Mm-hmm. So that tells me a lot about just who he is as a person. And I would love to be in the fly on the wall when he's pitching it to Greg Penner, be like, okay, I got this idea. Yeah. And Greg Penner's like, how's that really going to work? I don't know. That would have been an all-timer if they would have done that. I would have been on board just because I'm like, hey, you're getting Bill Belichick in the building for another year or two. Like, I'm in. But that was fascinating. Like,
crazy
that they're even thinking about that is like, wow. But yeah, that was the rumor, or that was the plan. It's just the logistics got in the way, apparently.
Kodiak, what are your thoughts on that, man?
So my initial thoughts are it would have worked. Like, I genuinely think it was actually a really, really smart plan. Now you get into the whole, like, wow, seems really stupid. Okay, it's not a Madden franchise. Like, you can't just make changes like that overnight and seamlessly and transition as easily as everybody thinks you can. But here's the deal. I think as long as everybody kept their same responsibilities and Bill Belichick was just pretty much the defensive coordinator, which, I mean, if there was one guy it really would have hurt, it would have been VJ. That being said, Bill Belichick is probably the greatest defensive mind football has ever seen. So then you get that. And why did he fail in his final few years in New England? Well, it's because too much personnel decisions, couldn't draft, couldn't develop, stupid free agency moves. You know, every quarterback after Brady was completely ruined and their development was off the rails, stupid offensive coordinator hires. But here's the thing. You come here, you don't have to deal with that. Okay. Assuming Peyton and Peyton's responsibilities stayed the same. Like, I don't know. He just would have been a glorified defensive coordinator. And hey, man, that would have been completely fine with me. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that it was like running in my head all day while I was working. I was like, man, that kind of would have been fun.
It would have been fun to talk about. I would have hated everything about it had it come to fruition. And I don't even know if it was like, I don't know if it was really seriously considered. I think maybe he just thought about like what I kind of took it as like this kind of went through his head. But dude, that would be such like a clown show moment almost of like, okay, we're putting this one guy over the team, even though it's an unselfish move on Sean Payton's part. It's like, I don't know how it would have worked. That's a lot of personalities, a lot of egos, a lot of winning in the room. It certainly would have been fun, but I think I agree with what Jeremy said in a sense of, I think there's such a wrong narrative around Sean Payton in general. Like they're like, he's an egotistical maniac and he's an asshole. And like, I look at it like, first of all, you have to have a certain personality to just be as like an elite head coach for a very, very long period of time. Like if you think Mike Shanahan was like the nicest guy ever, people just forget just how much of an asshole he could be, and rightfully so. But another thing is like the guy does not think he's the smartest guy in the room. I mean, by no means. All he does is talk about like, he looks at all of the plays. And there was one part of the article where he talks about, he looks at every single, I don't even know if it was touchdown play. I think it's just like successful play. It might be touchdown plays of more than 10 yards.
Like,
and then he breaks them down by like, okay, these ones are like player driven and this one is call driven. So he eliminates the ones that are player driven because you can't, replicate a player. And he takes those play calls and he's like, all right, I'm just going to take those concepts. Like, obviously he doesn't think that he's the smartest guy in the room. He's always talking to Bill Parcells, trying to get advice. He talked to Sean McVay before the Super Bowl to kind of say some things. And they're always getting ideas off of each other. So it's, it's just such a lazy take when people are like, he's an egomaniac or he's stuck in his own ways. Like, I think it's opposite. I think he probably overdoes too many things though to get in his own head, which leads us to what we were going to start talking about too. And this is this curious 4th down and 11 call he had that we found out about in the AFC divisional game against the Bills in overtime. It's 4th and 11, and Kodiak, take it away from there, man.
So apparently what had happened was, so after, Sutton drops a couple passes, first overtime drive, wildly unsuccessful. So what ends up happening is Sean Payton dials up a fake punt from about he calls a fake punt from about our 38-yard line.
Yeah, 36 yard
38, line. Or whatever, which if you're going to run a fake punt in your own territory, I don't even need to explain the risks to you guys, especially knowing that Josh Allen is on the other sideline there. And then Tyler Bidet checks out of it because he's the up back. He was the personal protector on punts all year long. I actually said in the preseason that I thought he was the best choice for that role. So I guess he held that role pretty much the entire season. But yeah, I don't know the specifics of the play. I don't remember if the article got into the specifics of who was going to get the ball, but apparently Sean Payton, after the game, goes into the locker room and is like, obviously this was before he found out that Bo got hurt. He was like, dang it, we had the right call. That could have worked. That totally could have worked.
Oh, dude. And the crazy thing is a lot of people think it was, Crawshaw throwing a ball. It was a run.
Yeah,
it was going to be Tyler Bidet running. They felt like they had a certain like run look that would have taken, I think it was Tyrell Shavers out of the way. And he said it could have been a big one. Now, dude, the amount of balls that you have to have, right? The amount, like some people will say, how unbelievably stupid, how reckless can you be? And I get that. I think it's a lot more stupid and a lot more reckless to go for it on 4th and 1 with the play call that we had in the championship game versus that. But you also think about like, if it worked, right? He's the GOAT, right? Like he's like, that puts him on another, like he did a fake punt in the Super Bowl to win a Super Bowl. He does a fake punt to take you to the AFC Championship game, and Bo Nix probably does not injure his ankle. So there's always those what ifs. It's always those crazy moments. But yeah, who would have thought it, man? Of all the shit we gave Tyler Bidet and the hard time we gave him, it was him that kind of saved that game. You can make the argument too. Yeah. I'm literally like pulling up the NFL 22 film to see if I can see Bidet like check out of it. But
did they say why he checked out?
They didn't get into the idea as to why he checked out. I think it was like a look thing. But dude, my guess is I bet you Bidet was like, "This is asinine. Like,
Yeah,
we're not gonna call no freaking."
I'm gonna
Like
get blamed.
he obviously had the authority to check out of it, you know, because there didn't seem to be a problem. And he probably like before he even saw the look, he's like, "We're checking out of this. Like I ain't doing all that." And so he did. Crawshaw puts the best punt of his career.
Yeah.
Pins him inside the 5. And we know how the rest goes, man. It allows for Jaquan McMillan to have like an all-time moment, but damn.
And
crazy
Crawshaw, he probably marched out onto the field thinking he's not going to do anything. He probably like they called that out and they're like, you know, he's probably got the call before they went out there.
Yep.
And then in the moment they're like, nope, you do got to kick it. And it was his best kick, which
Yep.
I guess that's less thinking you have to do. The thing I wanted to jump on with what you were saying is, did you guys ever see the show House? Like the doctor show with Hugh Laurie? Okay, so it's like basically it's Sherlock Holmes, but it's in a hospital. And
Yeah.
it's like this really, people think he's arrogant, he's kind of a jerk and this douchey guy, and he's like really smart alecky, but his wing is the diagnostics, where it's like when nobody else can figure out what's wrong with somebody, why they're dying or why they're sick, they have to go to him. And he doesn't care how they come to the conclusion, but it's all puzzles for him. He's not trying to be famous. He's not trying to be anything. It's just, there's one way that this person can be saved, and I got to figure out how it is. And I need a team to give me bad ideas and good ideas, and we'll throw things at the wall and all this kind of stuff. I kind of think Sean Payton is very similar to that character. He doesn't care about himself as far as the credit, that kind of thing. It's just, there's a way to win this football game, and I got to figure out which one it is. And that's what Bill Parcells was saying in that article, is like, there is a way for Jarrett Stidham to take you to the Super Bowl. You just have to figure out how to do it. And they got pretty close, honestly. And we say it's ballsy to kind of go for a punt fake and all that stuff, but what's ballsier? If you have the right look and you have practiced it and you believe in your team against one specific play, or punting it to Josh Allen, who's gotten hot and now is going to march down. All he needs is a field goal. I would take that chance if I like that look. So I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds. Now, if it doesn't work, you're going to get completely killed in the media. You know that. But you as the coach has to go, I like my chances on something that I've prepared for, as opposed to like hoping for the best. Luckily, Jaquan McMillan saved his butt on that one. But but yeah, that's how I'm now going to look at him. Is this like this kind of guy who's I just got to figure out how to solve the equation.
Well,
That's
it's
just
funny
what it
too, man, because you look at the flip side. Let's say Jaquan doesn't make that play, you end up losing that game, and you hear about this, then you're like, freaking Tyler Bidet, he should have ran the fake punt, because you're like, so hindsight's always going to be 20/20, right? Eli, my guy, what's up, brother? He says, wasn't House abusing painkillers?
Yes, he was.
He was.
Just like our head
And
coach.
Jakaya says, can you say hi, please? Hi, Jakaya. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for all that. But yeah, no, Eli, man, my guy, appreciate you tuning in. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about before I actually show the video of the fake punt, or the fake punt that was. But there was one that I put it on my Twitter, and it was, this kind of blew me away too. Let's see if we'll be able to see it. We'll do
Dude, this article was awesome.
Dude, it was amazing.
We're spoiled. We got spoiled today.
It was so good. I know this is long, but essentially, like, this is why I always get so fascinated with football, and like doing all my film reviews now, whether in the draft or after each week, or just being able to get like a different perspective on it instead of like reacting to something in the moment, is so mind blowing to me, because it's like, there's so many factors that go into it, dude. I could watch a play probably 30 times and get something different from it every single time. And he talks about here, he says, football schematics is a hidden, wonky, weird world that most of us know little about, despite the explosion of social media X's and O's. It's impossible to declare why a play succeeded or failed without knowing its intent. And it's impossible to know its intent unless you're in this room, which I think is like so unbelievably true. Because you're like, dude, this player sucks, or this player, screwed up here, but then we could be completely like misguided in terms of what it is that we did. And even if you know the intent, there's still unknowable aspects, a fog of war, chaos. And then he talks about, when he went to ask Peyton to explain a play, it takes him so long diving in basic designs and adjustments and routes and conversions and all that. I'm just trying to kind of paraphrase that, really nobody that coaches would know any of this, such as which receivers cut off routes too short or struggle to catch certain types of passes, that I feel guilty as if he's teaching at the expense of preparation. So it's like even this part, and I think it was might have been Zach Seegers that put it, as it relates to Marvin Mims, but you can read this and take a million different things from it. He went on to talk also about how like calling a game when it's a 14-10 game versus a 33-30 game is so much different. And like, even though that's something that like we think like, obviously we know that, I think it shows a lot about like, it's why I've been doing so much Bo Nix defending, even though like at this point I don't really need to defend Bo Nix, but people talk about like he's a check down merchant, or he does, he wakes up in certain times, and it's like people don't realize that like coaches, especially guys like Sean Payton, they don't care about scoring 30 points a game like you think he does. He doesn't care. If he has to do that, he'll adjust. But if it's a 14-10 game, he's going to call a very conservative game plan. He's going to make sure, hey, Bo, just don't screw it up. And we're going to go like that. And they dive into that aspect of it a lot too, which was awesome. And what it made me think of? I would pay so much money for an article like this to come out when we had Nathaniel Hackett as our head coach, just to see the vast differences, because I think that it would have been unbelievably hilarious to see that and to see the differences. But yeah, I mean, any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I got one of those thoughts. I got a thought. You talk about, calling a game based on, the different and the flow. What I will say is, I know that a lot of people in the first half of last year were like, oh, the play calling is bad. I was never one of those people. Like, I still think it's a positive thing that Davis Webb ultimately will be taking over. But, it's one of those things where people were just like, whoa, the play calling is bad. And I'm just like, dude, Sean Payton has a very specific way that he wants to play pretty much every game. Vance Joseph, in his interview with Peter Schrager, another ESPN guy, mid-season, I think it dropped last year after we beat Kansas City. It dropped like during the bye week. Sean Payton has a clear vision for the game. He's like, how are we going to attack that vision? And every time, I can't say he's wrong for doing it, because even in the games where the offense struggled to get up and he called it conservatively, the defense pretty much always, held their weight. And then, when we needed to play a shootout, when we needed to play a slugfest, the offense always rose to the occasion. And I think that's one thing that really, really works in our favor there, is that the Broncos last year could play any type of game and they could win. Only game they weren't really like close in was Jacksonville. But other than that, man, it's impossible to argue with 14 wins and a 1 seed and being so close to going back to another Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's wild. There was something that you said there, and it completely escaped my brain, that they also talked about within there as well. Maybe it'll come back to me. But Jeremy, any thoughts on that?
Well, at the end of that, what you showed, it said that, it makes you think that football can be orchestrated, which, it's just football is one of those things where it's like, if a guy makes an unbelievable play and breaks 2 tackles, then like, oh, look at this genius like offense that scored and great pass. And it's like, well, guy broke a tackle, took it to the house or whatever. It's not a great pass necessarily. It's just, we always do that where we just round up everything, which is like, they won, so it's great play calling, or they lost, so it's horrible play. And it's just like,
yeah,
Sean Payton's always like setting something up for later too. Like, he likes to set the table and then going, remember that call I had when we played them last year and they did this? Now I'm going to make a wrinkle on that. And they're not, it's just so many layers. The guy's thinking on so many different things that it is so knee jerky just to be like, oh, his play calling is bad or it's good. And it's like, we don't know the multiple levels that he's going through with all this. The one thing that I think Davis Webb will help is getting the play in faster. Hopefully, that's the one thing that I will be like, okay. But remember how Sean Payton wrote "run the ball" on the top on the play sheet, which tells you he doesn't have an exact, I want to run these plays at this time at this thing. It's all feel. And he's got to remind himself to go against his own feels of like, okay, I got to run the ball more than I normally feel like I want to. And I have to remind myself, which is an interesting way to do that. Other coaches, I think, can be like, where's the balance? Okay, you've ran 2 more pass plays than you have run plays. Okay, got to get that to be even. Got to be, and they're so analytical. Where Sean Payton is like more old school. He'll use the analytics as a tool, but he's very much a feel type of coach, and that's why he won those games the way he did. He could win close games, you can win big, high scoring games, low scoring games, all that stuff, because when it comes to the field, and I think that's why the team responded, because in those moments they were comfortable, they were prepared, and they go, I think we know what we need to do in this thing. They don't panic because we only scored 10 points so far. They're like, we'll slowly grind out a 10-7 win, but we'll also like have 30 points against whoever. So I think that's just good football character. And I think when you have a young team that's able to do that, that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And there was something else that I wanted to touch on before I'll let Mark talk. But I think David said this after we beat the Eagles last year. Remember when we went for 2 and we ended up getting it? David had said that this is one of the things that analytics can never measure is the feel of the game. And Sean Payton after the game, I was losing my mind when they were lining up to go for that 2-point conversion. I was like, no, please, just try to trick them. But then Franklin catches the ball and all as well. But once again, the feel is something that analytics will never be able to capture. And then Sean Payton after the game was like, well, we told the guys that we were coming into Philly and we were going to get a dub. So, and then they got a dub. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you can feel like not just when you're cooking as a play caller, but you can feel when your team's in it. You can feel the momentum. Like this guy is so locked into his team, things we'll never know, things that are said on the sidelines. Where you can't just assume that they're just making things up. And obviously, it's not always going to work, but you got to trust that at least they're going to put the team in the best position to be able to make plays. So I watched this a couple times. I can't see anything, I'm not going to lie, guys, in terms of the fake punt aspect to it. But I'll let you guys decide, all right? This is from the beginning.
Okay.
So it looks like everyone just kind of stays there. I don't know if Bidet says anything, but that's it. They punted it.
Yeah, probably already called it off. It's
I mean,
probably a
we
formation.
We can just admire how phenomenal that punt was. But
bang.
Yeah, it could have just been a formation thing. But I tried even the sideline view, same thing. You don't really get much of it. So
yeah, it could have been like okay, Bidet, like okay, we're running it this play. All right, then I'm going to line up in this specific place, this specific hash mark, this specific depth or whatever. But I think it was since he lined up in that specific area that he did, that may have told everybody that they were not going to fake it because like you said, he's an attention oriented coach. So there's a lot of details that we missed. So yeah, maybe.
But if you do pay attention to something, right? If Bidet catches the ball, this basically just got this guy right here at the end to beat.
That's what I was about to say.
So I don't know if Fabroni's the guy. No, Sean, it was probably Troutman, our guy Trouty.
If you go to the sideline view again. Okay, so you see how number 25 down here, he swung over to the gunner to kind of give help a little bit, but he's back. The other guy leaves 23 is going one-on-one up top on the other gunner.
Yep.
If the middle
he's wide open.
Brings it back, swings over. Maybe that's what it is. If they double the gunners, but the fact that he stayed home, maybe Bidet checked out of it because that's really the only guy you're not worried about having to go one-on-one. If you swing those other guys wide, you're going to have a lane. So I wonder if that's what changed it. That he was going to be out of there.
Well, look at the chains. Look at where the chains are. That feels like such a long way, especially when you consider the fact that Bidet is lined up 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Like, look at the chains. You can see them just barely, at the 49 there. And yeah, overall, you're just at that point, you're praying that, hey, Prentice, hold your block. Hey, Faboni, hold your block. Hey, Troutman, hold your block. Because
and especially this guy up here, because I think Key's at the bottom. I think that's JL Skinner up there.
Yeah.
And so you're really you're relying on him to hold a block too. How
No,
often
but
does he block?
Look at 25 right where you're at. He hasn't looked back once.
Yeah, you're
It's
talking about the guy in the
down
middle?
here on the other gunner, not 20. Foot 25 down here who doubled.
Down
So
here,
if
yeah.
20 would have doubled, he's probably not going to be looking back either. So the
Okay.
idea is hike it like it's a punt. These guys crash around the sides, and then you just go straight up. And now you're running while the gunners are running, the coverage gunners are running, and you're just also running, and they're not even looking back. So that's the only way that you'd have to run that down the middle pretty much. But they never look back. That's the whole point.
Wait, who is at the bottom? Is that Abrams, Drain, or Skinner? Who was the one they
That's
ultimately
Skinner.
ended up?
Skinner's at the bottom. I think Key's on top.
Okay,
You can't see it from the end zone view. It only shows it from the tight, but that looks like a 4
Okay.
that I saw on the. Oh
Okay,
yeah, no. So Key's right here.
Yeah.
We know. Oh, Chris Abrams Drain. Yeah, he's on.
Okay.
He's
So I was
probably
about to
on the
say,
other
so I thought Abrams Drain was the guy they bracketed. So yeah, ultimately it would have just been on Abrams Drain to just run the guy off, and same with Skinner on the outside. And yeah. Once again, that 50-yard line, that feels like a
It is a long one, man.
long 11 yards, especially when you consider the play call. But you know what? I believe him when he said they had the call or the look they wanted, because Jeremy did a great job of breaking that down.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I just, yeah, I mean, it was just those kind of things, dude. And there's so much of it that was, I mean, just absolutely mind blowing to me. Like even times where you can see clearly, you know, it was obvious that Sean had made his mind last year that Joe Lombardi is going to be gone and Davis Webb is going to get a promotion, because there was like legitimate game plan things that, you know, he was going to talk about, and he yells for Davis Webb. He doesn't even really talk much with Joe Lombardi at all to get his aspect of it. So you get a little bit of that. You get a whole bunch.
Yeah, there was another thing I wanted to talk about. Like, I've been looking into this offseason, I've been looking to on-off a lot, like who was the most successful, like when the Broncos were, you know, showing this look, like were they successful? Did they have balanced play calling or whatever? And I don't know, just the fact that Sean Payton is going miles deep and more ankles deep than I am into this stuff, you know, I'm pretty sure he knows that having Evan Ingram on the field for 85% of his plays being passing plays is a huge problem. I'm pretty sure he knows that Jaleel McLaughlin, you know, the ball going to him every time he's on the field, that's a problem. So, yeah, once again, just the details that these guys are about, because we don't get to see these guys operate. We get to see like one team on Hard Knocks every year, and that's kind of it. But we don't get to see like what really, really goes on here. So, yeah, the fact that we did, and the fact that we did for our playoff run, this was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I think it's actually better that it's an article. Us as fans would have appreciated, like we would have loved it if we could have watched a season-long video of it or something. But just reading it is better because it kind of keeps everything a little more under wraps, the way he operates. The thing I will look at this article for is not X's and O's and that kind of a thing, because those things change and schemes change and all that stuff. It's more about his mentality of when and where he makes decisions and how he makes decisions. And that will kind of give you an idea of like things up the road when things happen, of like, what kind of person is Sean Payton? What kind of decisions has he made in the past? This is who he is. We know he'll go for a fake. We know that he has that. And as much as we can respect also the feel of that he has, he also should have kicked that field goal in the AFC Championship and didn't. So like it can work against you, your confidence, or like, I think this play is going to work, or mistakes. So that's the biggest takeaway for me in this article that I've read so far, is just like, I know who Sean Payton is a lot more now. I don't necessarily like, that doesn't mean I can predict how the team's going to be or any of that kind of stuff, but in certain situations, I know what kind of person I'm dealing with.
Yeah, no. And dude, like, I think it was it Justin Simmons that was talking about sleeves, and that's the reason he got cut, because Sean Payton said, like, don't wear sleeves. They even talked about that. He said, I hate sleeves. They're too slippery, to the point where to like have somebody back him up. And when he talked about it in the team meeting, he references a Jerry Rice play in like the 80s where Jerry Rice fumbles the ball. And after that, he never got sleeves again. Like he never wore sleeves. He's like, it's 100% because of that. He calls him, leaves him a message saying, I just want to talk about the sleeve story. Can you call me back? Calls him back, records it, shares it with the team of like, don't just think I'm crazy for saying this. This is like the greatest wide receiver of all time saying it. Like the intricate kind of details that you get is absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy. We'll get into the chat here a little bit. Rodney Garcia saying, hey guys, quick question. Why does it seem like the Broncos always struggle against the Jets? Their games are always close. I'm going to let one of you guys take that as an answer. I'm going to let this stupid dog out because he has to go bathroom, and I'll be listening though. So you guys take it away.
All
Do you have anything for that, Alex?
So I think it's just been really specific. Like, everything that came out from this article just lends me to believe how specific things are when it comes to the modern NFL. And I think about, last year, London game, every international game was close besides Rams Jaguars. Like every international game was within one score, no matter how good or how shitty one team was. The year before, that was the Hurricane Rock fight. The year before, I think that was our defense still not being honed in, and then Russell Wilson literally throwing our chances backwards. The year before, we had what was his name? Rippin? Yeah.
Brett Rippin.
Yeah, we had Brett Rippin, when the game Russ was out. So yeah, I don't know. And then in 2021, we beat the brakes off them. So as far as why the Broncos struggle against them, I don't know, man. It just feels a little circumstantial with it, all that. But
Yeah, I agree.
Eli Betts kind of nailed it right here. The rosters are similarly built, and you know what? I don't think that's going to change, especially with Mooj going over to the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's more just like you said, it's circumstantial as of late. But it could also be one of those things where it's like, I don't feel like we need to pull out all the stops like we do with other people because we think that we can just play them straight up and save it for later. I don't know. Really. And sometimes certain teams just are like that in sport. Like you're like, we're clearly better than this team, but we always play them close, way closer than it should be. That's just, who knows why? But yeah, I think, what you laid out the last 4 years, that's all just happened to none of the guys are focusing when they go to London. They're all sightseeing and doing whatever. And, the monsoon rookie Bo Nix in his 6th game or whatever it was, and he had not played well up to that spot, really. I mean, that's a fluke. It's going to be a low scoring game no matter what. And yeah. But it is interesting. My favorite Jets game of all time, though, AFC Championship, 1999.
Figured. Yeah.
Because that game, that was also a close game, much closer than I thought it was going to be. But we had just watched Atlanta Falcons upset Minnesota, and like Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Randall Cunningham and all that, they're out. So now we're like, we just won the Super Bowl. All we have to do is take care of the Jets, and then we get to play Atlanta in the Super Bowl. We're going to be fine. And then all of a sudden, we just cannot move the ball. Their defense, and then we get the punt blocked at the 2, and they punch it in. So now we're down 10-0, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Please, something happen. And then McCaffrey hit a big one, and then Terrell Davis got going, and we cruised after that. But that was one of those ones where it's just like, never underestimate your opponent, ever, 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 because I was already thinking we won the Super Bowl before the game even started.
Yeah, of course. And, Mark, for you just joining, I said that the Broncos struggles against the Jets were all circumstantial. Like you think about London, you think about the Hurricane game, you think about, all these other games we've had against them. And you're right, Jeremy. Sometimes it is just, it's just the way this team plays another team. Like you think about, remember the Dolphins against Brady? Like shit, Brady has a really, really bad record in Miami. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. Divisionals are always like that. The Raiders are always like that. No matter how bad the Raiders are having a year, we'll have a close game or 2 against them. Like it just will happen. Like they won 3 games, number 1 pick, and we beat them 10-7. And it was like the ugliest game. So, and we were the 1 seed. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah. I remember there was a game where Teddy Bridgewater was starting against Zach Wilson, and the Jets scored 0 points. We shut him out.
Yeah.
I also remember we beat him with Brett Rippin.
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about.
COVID year, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would just say lately it's just been like weird games, but sorry,
is that
Eli,
the one where
but
Jerry Judy Moss, that guy?
Yeah, then he did that. Like
Yeah.
he did the stupidest touchdown dance I've ever seen. Like, come on, dude, you've dropped. That's when
Wasn't
I
it
was
that
starting.
little weird thing he always did?
Yeah, yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah, the guy was a little bit mental for sure.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. Yeah, 2020 COVID game with Ripon. There you go. The past means that King Derrick Henry performed against the Broncos. History. I don't know. I don't think.
I think I've got the answer. So I'm thinking about 2020 Monday Night Football to open the year. I know the Titans ran the ball like 35 times, but I think Henry averaged under 4 per carry. And then I think 2022 against the Titans. I remember the Broncos D line came in immediately after they played against Tennessee that game, and they were just like, "Shit, man, we held Henry to under 50 and we still lost." So yeah, I think we've done pretty well against Henry.
We have, even though I guess he's 4-1 against us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
but I feel like we've held him in check though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever just stomping us.
Nope. Yeah, I don't either. That's thank God we don't have to go up against him very often. That's for damn sure. Jackson, appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. Also, thanks for tuning in. This has been awesome, man. We've been really just diving into that Seth Wickersham article / novel that he wrote, which was incredible. Switzerland beat Colombia in PKs for anyone that cares. That's pretty wild.
Wow. No freaking way, really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I think Colombia is like the first team to get eliminated in the World Cup and never concede a goal.
That's
They didn't concede a goal the entire tournament.
Holy cow.
It's insane.
That's crazy. I was going to rewatch that later, but now Argentina has like the clearest path ever.
Yeah. And Colombia, like they had like 6 or 7 opportunities in the second half and in extra time to win the game. They just like were so damn close. So
I thought they could actually win the whole thing. They were like, they completely dominated Portugal. And then Spain was like, it was a close game against Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Colombia was legit. Like they were good. So that's a big upset.
Yep. No, that's massive. Massive. All right, guys, we got just a few minutes left here before we wrap it up. Anything else that you guys wanted to touch on with that Seth Wickersham article?
I love the fact that he lights a candle and he has like glasses touch. It's like a superstition like thing for him. It's just everything I already thought. Drinking 10 Cokes a day. He's lighting candle. Like this dude marches. He has a way that he's going to do it, and it will work if he does it correctly. And I think those people are somewhat of like a dying breed a little bit. And I wish that it wasn't, because I love that. I love the fact that he's like, he's still talking to his, he's a lieutenant of Bill Parcells. He's still, I love the fact that they make the comment, Bill answered on the first ring and he's like, sorry. He's like, I'm trying to get a hold of you. And he's like, no. I called you 4 times yesterday. Bill Parcells, not coaching since 2006, called Sean Payton 4 times the day before to tell him about stuff. Like, this is who these people are, so like rooted in. This is their life. Football is their life. When you're not a coach, you're still a coach. Like, that's just who they are, like to their cores. And that's what that article drove home even more, is just like, I bet crazy, that where he was commentating on all the games was killing him.
Yeah. They're absolutely crazy. I mean, out of their minds. Like, they don't sleep. I was getting anxiety, like hearing how tired he was and how shaky and like caffeinated, and he for sure is like on Adderall or something crazy and a bunch of other stuff. Like, this guy's gonna have a heart attack. Doesn't eat. Like, yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. Kodiak, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I remember when I was 12, I read an article about Harbaugh, and the first thing that they mentioned is that he gets like 2 hours of sleep a night in his office. And I think Jeremy's right that those kinds of people are like a dying breed, because if you ever sat at a Rockies game behind Dick Monfort, you'll see him drink like 7 iced teas within like the first 2 innings. And I don't know, it's just funny how like in their routine some of these guys are, At my restaurant, one of the guys who owns a meat company down the street, which that meat company is worth millions of dollars and does very well. He gets the same wine every day. He gets the same order every day. It's just funny. I don't know, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. Rodney's asking what games you guys going to. I don't like going to games. I'm not a game goer. I know Jeremy's the same way. So Cody, this is a question for you. You've been on a hot streak lately? Well, except for the AFC Championship game, but that has an asterisk on it because Bo's not Bo wasn't playing.
Yeah, you're right. So I actually don't know. I don't know yet, Rodney, but I am going to go to at least 3 or 4. I do pretty much every single year. And then if they make the playoffs again and host playoff games, I will be going. That being said, I think this is a good time for me to say that I will be going to 4 training camp sessions now. I will be going to, I think, August 3rd and then a few others in mid-August as well, August 12th, August 17th, 18th as well. So pretty excited about that because I know that it was a scrum and it was a scramble to get tickets on Ticketmaster for that. But luckily, my browser worked. The queue didn't fail me this time, so I was happy about that.
Nice.
Maybe we'll do a horsepower hour live from training camp. That's the kind of content we need. Sometimes you listen to the radio guys and they're like trying to break down some things happening. You don't really have any kind of a sense. I think we all get on there. We just pop on our phones, go live. That might be that might be fun. Some fun content. We can talk a little bit of crap too. So, you know how it goes. But so as we wrap up, Cody, anything that I know it's been a slow time of the year, man. I've been kind of slacking, doing other things, really busy with work. So I haven't been making as many videos, really into this World Cup too, as I'm a really big soccer fan. Which you guys, by the way, I want to show you. This is an exclusive. This is a bottle of tequila.
Oh,
what?
World
I've
Cup
seen
edition. World Cup edition bottle of tequila. So shout out to Davidson's Liquors. They're the ones that gave it to me. They're awesome. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. But anything that you got working, I know you've been doing a lot of short content videos. Are you got anything we should be on the lookout for?
Honestly, I will be making an argument for Drew Sanders at some point on a video, and I will, assuming next time we pop on horsepower, I'll do that too. And then I already talked about him, but Ingram, I think your days are numbered here. But if you really want to see why, then go on my channel and I can talk about that. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything planned. It's just kind of wing it by ear because that's the kind of the year this time is.
Yep.
But hey, also, new college football came out and I play a lot of college football. So head over to my channel, Langy, Langy. My last name is Lang. So go ahead over there, show some love.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, man. I got Drew Sanders making the 53 on my latest prediction video. If you guys haven't checked that out, go take a look. But yeah, we'll maybe we'll save that topic in terms and a few other things for Horsepower Hour next week to talk about. Jeremy, you got anything or any final thoughts for everybody?
No, just if you're watching this, you're probably a pretty big Broncos fan, and I would recommend you reading that article because it's worth it. I think a lot of people will not read that article because of its length and because it's reading. And you shouldn't miss that one because it's such good insight, better insight than watching a full season of games by far.
100%. And Seth Wickersham does such a good job, like setting the scene, painting the pictures. It's insane. I think another thing too is like copy the whole thing, paste it into Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, say, read this to me. And it'll basically be like an audiobook regardless. It's phenomenal. Highly recommend. So, David, we missed you, man. Hopefully you're doing well, guys. Everyone in the chat, you guys have all been awesome. I appreciate you all tuning in, man. And we'll hopefully be having weekly horsepower hours. Definitely once training camp and everything starts, we'll have it weekly and have content dropped every single day. So be sure to subscribe to all the channels, man. Hit the notification bell, and y'all be sure to have a wonderful day, man. We'll catch y'all later.
Yep. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Peace.